happened. No, it's fine. Dale Lottery Ryan said that power forward was definitely something that the team wanted to address. You guys worked out a fair number of candidates at that position today.
No, for sure. In the entire process, we had a lot of fours come through. We had a few more today. So just giving kind of a wide look at this is a pretty strong power forward draft class. There's a lot of guys, so we've been lucky enough to get a lot of them in. So just kind of continue that process today. Had a long day, but it was good to get some more candidates in and around and work out.
Does it help that there just seems like such a versatile group of that position as well? I mean, you've got young guys who are kind of, they got athletic talent, you've got older guys who have set skill sets. It kind of seems like you can have your pick no matter what pick you're using to fill that need.
Yeah, there's a whole mix of talents and skills, body types, athleticism, IQ. It's the whole, there's a lot. It's not like cookie cutter. Each guy has different appeals, and it's a deep class, so it's nice to have different groups of different guys and see how they go through different things. But it's like a vast amount of power forwards, and they're not all the same, which is fun to watch.
You guys always talk about best player available, but is that skewed at all when you have need and you have the talent?
No, I think it's kind of a philosophy that you kind of keep. It's not best player available. I think every year you're changing your philosophy. So obviously, if the best players are power forward, we do have a need, and that's it. If there's somebody else, then I think we'll kind of proceed as we have in the past, taking the best player available.
With Scott and where he is in his development, he's older than most freshmen are leaving college. How does that impact your evaluation?
Like anybody, you take their age into kind of consideration when you're evaluating, but he's still a pretty young kid. He might be a little bit older than his class, but still young enough to project out, and he has 1 year of college experience, so it doesn't change it too much. Obviously, apples and oranges, you kind of look at different guys in different ages, but it's not a huge swing either way.
Bryce Johnson spoke to extending his range as a big focus for his game. How do you feel like he shot it today?
He shot it well. He's had a nice stroke. It was like that mid-range stroke at Carolina was really impressive. So these guys, when they decide to go in the draft, or when older guys they graduate and start working on it, they spend a lot of time shooting the three ball. So I think he's been in Vegas working out, and they've done a good job of kind of, at least in a skill workout session, getting used to that NBA line. It's a little bit different when you can run up and down and you have people run at you, but he shot it well today.
At almost 22, does he still seem to have a lot of upside, even though he's had a 4-year career?
Yeah, every guy, like this question earlier, everybody is kind of evaluated a little bit differently. I think sometimes you can kind of over-focus on age, and it can lead you to mistakes in both ways, whether it's a young guy with projection or it's an older guy saying he can't get better. I think every player that comes in the league will get better. Everybody does have potential, and I think he's shown improvement every year at Carolina, and he can probably continue to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's put on some weight, but does he still need more bulk to be able to rebound like he did in college?
Yeah, I think every guy coming in the league does. If you see his body, it has come on over his time in Carolina. Obviously now it's that next level of athlete and size. He does have the benefit. He's really light on his feet. He's a really good leaper. And he's long. So all those things help him. But like every other guy, he'll have to add strength. But that's true for just about every single guy in the league. So.
Question was kind of tailored to that. I mean, besides age, weight is a number that guys can kind of focus on, especially with big guys who weigh less than 220. But Alex Len showed that he could put on a lot of weight in a couple of years. Do you guys care too much if they come in kind of skinny and with all that metabolism still sealing their weight?
Well, everybody's different. I was skinny in college, and obviously I'm not skinny now. So when you're dealing with these other guys, some guys have a propensity to put on quick, and some guys can add strength without putting on a ton of weight, kind of wiry strong. So it's something you can work on. We'll talk to Mike Elliott and our training staff and kind of gauge them and talk to their people they work with in college to see how they've done, how they've added, what they could continue to do. So it's something you kind of gauge, but it might not equal, strength doesn't exactly equal 30 pounds. It might be 15 pounds of just added onto him. It might make him really effective. So.
Bryce is being projected a little bit later than some of the other forwards you've worked out. What do you think the reason for that is?
I'm not sure. Everybody, projections are projections. So everybody else internally, we have our own projections. So everybody does a really good job of projecting things, but it could be maybe those projections take into account his age. So could be that, or they just like the other guys better. So we don't put too much. Our internal projections are our big projections. So if we put more stock in that, then look at the other guys.
What do you like about Malachi's offensive game?
He's got a really mature body for being such a a freshman. He's strong. He's stocky. Shoots the ball pretty well. Has a mature game, so knows how to put it on the floor a little bit. Comes from a great kind of program at Syracuse. but his body, his stroke, his general feel for the game, he looks a lot, he plays a lot older than his age, I guess is a good way to put it.
He finished pretty well at the rim and shot well from three, but his 2-point jumpers, the number wasn't as good. What did you think the main reason was for that?
I'm not sure. I don't know. That's probably a better question for him. I think there is a stroke there. Maybe whether it's shot selection or shots he got in the offense, or just wasn't as able to get as good a shot there. So I can't really say exactly why he struggled or why his number was lower from that area.
It's kind of this year's example of a guy whose NCAA tournament really launched him up in the collective minds of the NBA in general. You talk about wanting to stay consistent with the whole scouting report, but how much do you weigh in someone who just kind of erupts like that in such big games?
Well, you weigh in everything. So obviously, all of us saw Syracuse a bunch of times, and he did play a big role for Syracuse. Obviously, saved some of his really big games for the tournament, so that stuff does stick out. But you weigh everything. So you notice the fact he stepped up on a big occasion, and you go back and your other scouting reports and see what you thought of him then, and kind of come together in the end and try and make a conclusion as best you can.
Do you worry about a prospect's defensive potential just because he played his zone entirely?
It is an adjustment because he's played 1 year at Syracuse, so now I think when you not sure in high school, but what they did defensively, but it is readjusting kind of some of their defensive concepts and techniques because it's going from playing the zones to guard a lot of pick and rolls, for instance. It's very different. When in the zone, you can kind of switch everything and just bump it over in the zone. And he'll have to go through like the normal rookie adjustment of learning how to play the pick and roll and the man-to-man defensive rotations. But I think he'll be able to pick it up.
What an impression Jakob's game from freshman to sophomore year.
He's sitting right next to me. I can't say
Yeah,
anything
I know.
before they'll kick my butt. So, no, he really improved. He went from he really improved. His freshman year, he obviously had a really good year. I think but all his numbers almost doubled. So became more assertive, became more comfortable on the floor. Always had a great motor, and he had a good IQ. And he just kind of really stepped his game up. Was more aggressive on the block. Was really good off the elbow. So he take a huge step, and obviously Utah had a good year, and a lot of it probably attributed to his development.
Is his game away from the basket underestimated, or just
I think
because he
so,
wasn't
yeah. I
asked to
think
do
from
it
the
much?
elbow, like when he shoots those elbow jumpers, the mid-range is pretty good, and he's a really good passer, like a really good. You saw it as a freshman. You continue to see it as a sophomore that he can play off the elbow or play off the block, and if he commands a double team or sees somebody cut, he's able to find them. So, yeah, I think that's probably a fair statement.
Your favorite Austrian player ever?
Phew, I don't know. Jakob, I guess. You can go through everybody. So.
Thanks.